Welcome. In this video, I will address common errors that I have observed students make in the application of APA-style formatting to their academic papers. Now, regardless of your major, you will likely attend courses that require you to write papers in APA style. So it behooves you to understand what the requirements are of that style, what your professor expects from your academic writing, and it can help to learn from the mistakes that previous students have already made. There's no sense repeating the errors of the past. In this video, I'll do my best to explain these errors in a way so that you can avoid them yourself. Let's get started. I will address the formatting requirements of APA version 7 style. Now, your professor may require that you use either an earlier version of APA style or a slightly modified version. Follow that professor's instructions. For this video, I'll be addressing the general requirements of APA version 7 style as described in the publication manual of the American Psychological Association, 7th edition. The most common errors that I have observed in student writing fall in these categories. The title page is improperly prepared, headings are not used appropriately or correctly, there are errors in citations or reference entries. And although, as I've said in other videos, I don't usually allow my students to use quotations, in those cases where I have allowed students to use quotations, the students often have difficulty in properly presenting the quoted material. An APA-style title page has a set format. The page number is required in the upper right corner of the page, up in the page header. The student's full name is required. The student's institutional affiliation, such as the academic department and the university name, the course number and the full name, the instructor's full name, usually with the instructor's title, and the assignment's due date. Now, be careful with this date. It's not the date on which you prepared your paper. It's the date on which the assignment is due. So always be planning ahead and know when your assignments are due so you can correctly enter that date on the title page of your paper. Headings serve to tell the reader what is coming next in the paper. It's almost as if they were introductions to the next topic or subtopic. And there are 5 levels of headings available in APA style. These levels may be repeated as many times as necessary. For example, you may have a paper that has multiple level 1 headings, but no level 2 headings. Or you may use level 1 and level 2 headings, but no levels 3, 4, or 5 headings. As an undergraduate student, your papers will generally be short enough that you'll need only level 1 or level 1 and 2 headings. Levels 3, 4, and 5 tend to show up only in graduate work and often only in theses and dissertations. A level 1 heading introduces a main point. principal topic within the paper. And this heading should be presented in title case, in which the principal words are initially capitalized, bold, and centered between the vertical margins, that is, centered between the left and the right margins of the paper. A Level 2 heading introduces a subtopic, and a Level 2 heading may only be used as a subordinate element under a Level 1 heading. The formatting of the Level 2 heading is very similar to a Level 1 heading, except it is flush left on the margin. And Levels 3, 4, and 5 have their own formatting requirements, and they are each subordinate to the level above them. Here I've attempted to create examples of each of the 5 heading levels. This first level is centered between the left and the right margins, bold, title case. Now, the text, the paragraph text that immediately follows this heading is, like all body paragraphs, has a first line indentation of 1/2 inch. A Level 2 heading is flush left, meaning flush against the left margin, bold, title case. And again, the paragraph text that immediately follows it is prepared as body text with a first line indentation of 1/2 inch. A Level 3 heading is very similar to a Level 2 heading in format, except it includes italics. And the body text that immediately follows it is first line indentation of 1/2 inch. Now, Levels 4 and 5 headings are a little bit strange. They are presented as part of the paragraph of text that they're introducing. While their Level 4 heading is title case, bold, and followed by a period, it's presented on the same indented line as the first line of the paragraph text. And then Level 5 is similar to Level 4 with the addition of italics. A citation identifies the source of data that you have included in your paper as part of the argument that you're presenting. You're telling the reader from where particular data came. Now, the source of data might be a single author, 2 authors, or even more than 2 authors. For a single or 2-author paper, name both authors in the citation or in your paragraph text, and then include the year of publication in the citation. If 3 or more authors contributed to the sourced document, name the primary author, the first one, and then use et al., which is an abbreviation of the Latin phrase et ali, meaning and others. And note that the et al. Abbreviation has a period to indicate the abbreviation. These authors can be identified either within the parenthetical citation or within the text of your document. For example, here I've identified the author and the year of publication within the citation. But in this second example, I identified the author in the paragraph text. thereby requiring only the year of publication to be included in this parenthetical citation. And here are other examples to two authors, three or more authors. So citations are relatively straightforward. You just have to accurately spell the author's surnames. In this video, I won't get into the details of the content of reference entries, those entries that you place on the references pages. But I will caution that any entry on the references page must have a complementary citation within the body of the paper, because the purpose of the reference entries is to inform the reader of your paper as to where they can acquire a copy of the data source that you cited in your paper. So in your paper, you use data from a source. You identify that source in a citation. The references page complements that citation and tells the reader where to get a copy of the original sourced data for themselves. So, there are two rules about reference lists. One, every source included in the references page must have a complementary citation within the paper. And every citation in the paper must have a complementary entry on the references list, with one exception. It is possible to cite a source that is not going to be available to other researchers, such as an email message that you received, a phone call that you received, or a text message that you received. Because that's a private, a personal communication, other researchers won't have access to it, so there's no need to include an entry to that source in your references list. A simple parenthetical citation with the identification that it is a personal communication suffices. And a references list is not a bibliography. It's not a list of readings that you suggest to the reader of your paper. Therefore, every entry on the references list must have a complementary citation within the paper. Now, while I generally advise my students to not quote their sources, instead to paraphrase their sources, you will take classes that will require you to quote your sources. This occasionally happens in sociology courses, in political science courses, in religion courses. So, if you must use a quotation, there's two ways to present the quotation in an APA-style paper. If the quotation is 39 or fewer words, or said another way, if it's less than 40 words, place the quotation within your paragraph of text and identify the quotation using quotation marks. If the quotation were 40 or more words long, then place the quotation in its own block paragraph, separate from your other paragraphs. And a block paragraph has the entire left margin of the paragraph moved over half an inch. And there's no additional indentation to the first line of a block paragraph. And do not use quotation marks in a block paragraph. Unless, of course, the source that you're quoting is quoting another source, and in which case that gets so weird, you ought to just not use the quotations to begin with. Now, a citation to quoted material requires identification of the location of the quoted text in the original source. So if you're quoting a source that was a paginated document, meaning a document with page numbers, identify the page number in the citation. If you're quoting a source that is an unpaginated source, such as a web page, then identify the paragraph number. Or you could use the name of the section from which the quotation came. And in the case of audiovisual material, identify the timestamp, usually the minute and second that the quotation begins from the recording. What elements of APA formatting have given you difficulty? Or what questions do you have about APA formatting? APA style is not particularly difficult, but it is a bit rigorous, and it does require understanding some very specific rules. It might be helpful if you were willing to share errors that you've made and your professors have corrected in your work. Please post a description of the errors that you've made or questions that you have down in the comments section below this video. It can be very helpful to other students to see how you have learned APA style. And if you do ask a question, I'll do my best to answer it. I hope the content of this video was helpful to you. Writing in APA style is a very common requirement for students at American universities. It's not difficult. Can be a little bit annoying, I'll admit, but all writing formats can be annoying, but they're just something that we have to learn and then apply correctly to our work. When you leave university, it's likely that the organization for which you work will also have its own writing style that you'll have to learn. Cross your fingers, maybe they use APA style, and it'll make it a little easier for you to write your reports in that business. I look forward to seeing you again in a future video, and until then, I wish you the absolute best in your application of APA style formatting. Bye for now. Mika, you're such a good dog. Yeah, you deserve a treat. Oh, so nice. Yeah, you like that, don't you? Sausage treats. Oh, you want more? More? No, I can't believe it. Oh, you like that treat, don't you? Yeah. What a beautiful dog you are. Yeah. Oh, shake. Oh, such